All right, so today we are doing part 2 to the last community video we did just a few days ago. If you haven't watched that one, feel free to check it out. A community video is basically where I ask you guys to send me a bunch of questions and then I answer them in a video. Before we jump right into it, Xbox players, there is a 2v2 tournament going on this Sunday held by Slaceon Gaming, and the winner gets $150. There are currently 43 teams participating, so the road to victory isn't that long. If you're interested, join our Discord, go to the updates channel, and follow the instructions from there. If you do sign up, be sure to ping me on Discord, as I'm rooting for one of you guys to win. Now let's not waste any more time and get right into it. So, one of the channel's oldest subs, Dante, asks, how do you feel about the addition of a free-for-all style mode, 1v1v1v1, in areas like the 3 duel-only maps? I don't think there's been a more requested mode for this game than a free-for-all mode or like an 8v8 battleground. I don't think UB would ever do it, although it would be a great addition to the rotation for Carousel and Dance of Death in the events playlist. If UB could pull it off though, I know a whole lot of people would be happy about it. Would it play out well? I have no idea. It's already hard enough to get the game to switch to the target you want it to when you're being ganked or in a team fight with more than 2 people, but it would just be fun to try it out, and I'd really like to see which heroes would pull out ahead and just see, how the games would play out when there's no teams. I've seen some people suggest a round robin format or suggest a fight club style mode, but I think free for all would be best in this situation. Just throw 4 people in a pit and have them battle it out. UB really missed out on the opportunity to throw in a free for all mode in season 3 when Gladiator released. That actually would have been the perfect time to introduce a free for all mode. They could have made a Coliseum-esque arena and everything. That would have been amazing. Even without a free-for-all mode, I'd like to see a Coliseum map in general. That would be probably my favorite map. The awesome Tobiasness says, we need to be able to select bot levels in PvAi. This is mainly something that needs more eyes on it. This has been a problem for ages as the vast majority of the community mainly or only plays PvAi. These people typically end up fighting level 1 bots because the game determines bot level based off of PvP performance. They get bored of trash level 1v1s, so they go to PvP and get bodied or straight up leave. Matchmaking being a mess doesn't help. Yes, matchmaking is a mess. In the face of such a skill gap, people often leave anyways. Having the option to select bot levels ourselves will allow people to learn more before they try PvP, or could keep the game interesting for those who don't like PvP. Alright, this is something I haven't talked about before, as I personally don't play player versus AI. Almost all of my experience going against bots has been when someone left a game or if a match starts 3v4 or something. But I know a lot of you guys do play PvAi. A whole lot of you, judging from the comments and whatnot. People play versus AI for plenty of reasons. They may not like playing against real people, whether it be for them just trying to enjoy a laid-back game of For Honor, or just enjoy the game for what it is, what it looks like. Or maybe it's because they live in an area where queue times are ridiculously long, or maybe they just don't have the best internet and choose to play against bots. Now, I've seen this suggestion get thrown around for a while now, and I'm surprised that this hasn't been implemented in some way yet, especially with how people viewed the almost omnipotent level 3 bots of the past, which even after their change are still pretty annoying to go up against, as they hardly mimic human behavior as a good bot should. I'm not saying a bot should be a one-to-one replica of a human or anything, but sometimes it feels like they just stand there and parry or dodge everything and then do nothing but throw an attack every 20 seconds. Or they're just total fodder, a big minion basically. Anyways, I don't see any problem with allowing us to choose what level bot we go up against in matchmaking, especially if you're playing solo versus bots. There's no downside to giving players the ability to play how they want to when they're alone. If a player wants to go in and destroy level 1 bots, let them. If they wish to fight a level 3 bot for some reason, let them. I could see an argument being made against letting players choose what difficulty they play on when queuing into a game with matchmaking, because it could increase queue times and whatnot, but at the very least, allow solo players to choose what sort of bot they're going against. NFL Veteran 32 says, how do you feel about the new heavy heroes this year? In my opinion, the only true heavy hero is Black Prior because he has big health, medium high damage, and a proper full block stance. Hitokiri and Yorm don't feel like heavies to me, and the new hero speculation makes it sound like a fast dodge spammer like an assassin. Alright, so I will be going deeper into this after the next hero releases, as I've been waiting to talk about heavies, and to do that, I wanted to wait until this year was over so that we'd have what I assume is all of them. But I will use this question to talk about the heavy so far. So far, as a whole, without including the next hero, if I rated these heavies collectively on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably be sitting at a 4 or a 4.5 from a gameplay perspective. Design-wise, as in their looks and sounds, they're much higher than that. I like the styles of these three heroes, but one of the heroes feel much more complete than the other two, that hero being Black Prior. Hitokiri left a lot to be desired, for me at least, especially as someone who is a big fan of the samurai. Their design grew on me over time, but the gameplay didn't. It's still pretty stale and just isn't creative. I know people don't like when I say that, but that's just how I feel. I know that offense is what the game needs, and Hitokiri can definitely get people open and force people to do something. And even though she's effective, I just find it bland, and that's fine. Different strokes for different folks, you know? Hitokiri doesn't feel like a pure heavy to me, and I think part of that lends to the way they move and fight. To me, they feel like a hybrid between a heavy and a vanguard, but the moveset is that of a heavy. Yorm is also pretty cool design-wise, they grew on me, and gameplay-wise, I still play them as they bring something to the table. I like the tankiness they provide with feat 1 and 2, and how feats 3 and 4 make it even easier to use the first two. It really allows you to stay alive for a pretty long time if you're fighting against people who have a tough time dealing with their bash. But I do find myself and many other Yorm players using the bash all the time because her whole loop is designed around stamina abuse, and you abuse stamina with the bash. The rest of the kit is small. You've got enhanced lights, an undodgeable light finisher, armored heavy opener, and an unblockable heavy finisher, on top of a zone that can chain and a forward dodge heavy. I'll admit, knocking someone into an enemy or into a wall with the unblockable heavy is still fun, and tossing them with the heavy while they're out of stamina is still satisfying. But most of the time, you're just trying to get your opponent out of stamina. And I see people say things like, why does Yorm bash so much? That's what he was designed to do. He's even further incentivized to bash because he heals for doing it with his tier 1. Since his opponents will be low on stamina fighting him, they won't want to throw attacks, or they can't throw attacks, so they just have to dodge away until they can breathe again. I don't know. I don't want to go too far into it here, but Yorm isn't what I think anyone was expecting when we saw that the Viking would have a hammer as a weapon. Again, just like with Hitokiri, Yorm feels like a hybrid between a vanguard and a heavy to me. Nothing about their design screams heavy hard hitter, you know? Even down to the hammer slam, although it does big damage. Then there's Black Prior, and I know some people don't like him because of his bash or light bash light, but I do think BP is a really good hero. He's got an answer for almost everything. He's got good pressure from neutral, he forces you to make decisions, he has a really easy to access feightable and blockable, the bulwark stance itself is pretty solid with quick flow, then he's got bulwark counter, which by itself changes the way opponents throw out their attacks, and it works against almost everything. Not to mention his zone, soft feint, forward dodge heavy, and great set of feats. He's not perfect. The guard switch bug is surprisingly still a thing, which is annoying for literally everyone. But overall, I think Black Prior is the best year 3 hero, and one of the best heroes in the game. I agree with you, BP does feel like a heavy, but if you told me he was a hybrid as well, I wouldn't be surprised. As for the Wu Lin and those leaks, Ice Cream Sundae sounds like a big Tiandi to me, if those leaks are true, so I'm hoping that the way they dodge is a little different, but I'm thinking it would be somewhat similar to Tiandi or Zhangjun. A Dashing Brawler says, is there a map you'd like to see reimagined or reworked similar to the Overwatch map? Yes. Yes, there is. There are still a few maps in the game that need work for one reason or another, and I'm glad they did what they did with Overwatch. It runs a lot better now, and so does High Fort. I'm sure they'll keep improving maps for various reasons, whether it be removing insta-kill locations or fixing stall points. The next map I really want to see improved is Sentinel. I know there are plenty of people who really like Sentinel, but it's just not for me. It's certainly different than every other map in the game, mainly because of those ballistas, and it has a really annoying stall on C. In my opinion, it's one of, if not the most irritating stall in the game. If you don't have a bear trap or a teammate to come help you out, someone can stall in the castle part of C for so long, probably forever, to the point where I think they could probably block off one of the staircases if it doesn't cause any major problems anyways, just so that people can't play cat and mouse on the stairs. Also, the ballista at point C is in the point, unlike the two ballistas near A, so you can sit on the ballista and boost C. Another advantage this ballista has is that you can clear minions on B with it, whether you have the point or not. And since you're on the point, as long as you're listening, you can hear when someone walks onto the point due to the audio cue when a point has been contested. Whereas on the other ballistas, depending on which ballista you're on, you won't know whether someone is walking up to you. The spawn entrances at C are also really small, so it's pretty easy to block them off if you have two players camping the zone, which, let's be honest, on Sentinel is very likely. Since Sentinel is basically two battles all game, the fight at A and the fight at C, there's hardly any fighting on zone B, as you literally have three medieval siege weapons pointing at you, and because the ballista on C can take care of minions anyways, you don't need to be at B. Also, the battle at A can be influenced by the ballista at C, but the battle at C can't be influenced by the ballistas at A. I'm sorry for talking about Sentinel for so long, but I play on that map so much and I want it to be better. It's different, it's large, and I commend Yubi for trying something different with the map, but it's just not my type of thing. My favorite map is Temple Garden. Steve Gibbs wonders if the devs will ever allow us to do custom button mapping on a controller other than the predetermined configurations. So one reason I like making these types of videos is because it gives me a reason to talk about something like this. This is actually something I think about every single time I play on console or PC when I'm playing with the standard button layout instead of custom controls. When For Honor fizzles out, I hope that they grant us one final wish before parting ways with updating the game, and that's allowing us to map our own buttons with total freedom. I know there are some people out there who want other layouts, but I honestly just want to be able to bind my heavy and light attacks to left bumper on Xbox or L1 on PS4, just so that I have zone attack bind to one button, as for some reason, even after all these years, I mess up my zone input sometimes and end up throwing out a random heavy or a light, or just end up throwing a light into hyper armor as I was trying to zone or something. And I mainly say this so that I can option select with my zone 100% of the time without throwing out random lights or heavies. Even if I couldn't rebind quick chat, I'd be happy with it. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. As I said last time, you guys really came through with the questions this time around. There are so many good ones, and I really do want to answer more, but I don't think I should do a part 3, especially with the new season coming up really soon. If the gap between the seasonal reveal and the season release is really boring though, I'll probably just go ahead and make another one because why not? As always, I do want to hear what you guys think, so be sure to talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.